Greetings from Florida. It's been a week, and I hope you're doing well. I'm T. Waldron, and I usually have my cat Pumpkin here, but I'm in Florida, and she's up north. So cheers to you. It's Saturday night, 8 p.m. I missed you guys. It's been a long week. It's been a good week. I forgot to put the microphone on. Hopefully you can hear me. Is that better? I'm so rusty. Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna see if I can stick it on something that's not gonna move here. I don't know if that, there. All right, hopefully that's working. Let me know if you can't hear me. Yeah, so this week I was at a week-long oh, hi there, thanks for the hearts. And I am guessing you can hear me, so that's super cool. Yeah, I was at a week-long meditation retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it was incredible. I just got out this afternoon, was our last day, and it was incredible. It was mind blowing, and it changed my life. I went to the first one in August of this year, and I came back and I've been meditating every single morning at 3:30 a.m. And yeah, and it's something that's gonna be part of my life for the rest of my life. Hey, good evening. Hi, Antonia. Welcome. Oh, I'm glad it sounds good. Thank you for letting me know, Dual Bug. I appreciate that. Hey, Jim. Thank you so much. I missed you guys. Yeah. How is the weather up there? I'm a little afraid to ask. It was like 85 today. By the way, I rented a convertible for the first time, and I was like going to this meditation retreat. Like a lot of the classes started at 6 a.m. So I really didn't have an opportunity. And then we would get out and it was already dark. So I never even put the top down. So finally today I had to Google how, I did the YouTube, how to put the convertible, and it was so easy. You just turn a thing and you hit a button. It's amazing. I thought I'd have to do, I don't know. I didn't know what I'd have to do. So the fear of the unknown froze me. Yeah. So how is it up there? I hear it's a little chilly, but it was kind of warm today, right? So hopefully everything's melting. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. It's a Saturday night and you're here, and I'm going to be talking metaphysics. So buckle up. So cheers to you. Here's for a little gratitude with attitude. Yeah. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And what we do, I'm trying to be my best self on all levels. And my whole channel is about mental fitness, but it's tied in with everything. It's tied in with physical fitness, let's see, psychological, emotional, all that. We have to be our best self so that we can get our minds right, and we have so much more power than we realize, but we have to sort of give it some time and attention. It's like going to the gym, right? If you want to look good, physical bodies, we have to eat right, get enough rest, go to the gym, maybe take the stairs when we could be taking the elevator, that kind of stuff. And with mental fitness, it's very similar. We do this deep stuff. Yeah. Hi, the boys. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Antonio. So I just want to share with you 5 things that I learned. I mean, I learned so much, and I took like probably, I don't know, 17 pages of notes, which I won't bore you with because a lot of it's out there. And if you don't know, I'm getting my doctorate in metaphysical life coaching. So we were in quantum physics all week. And then he would explain to us what we're doing and why we're doing it. And then we would do a meditation, and one meditation was 5 hours. We went there at 4 in the morning one day for a pineal gland meditation so that we could activate our pineal gland and release certain chemicals. And it was 5 hours. And if you left the room to go to the bathroom or whatever, you couldn't come back in, and nobody I talked to left. Like we all, because your body sort of shuts down when you get into this deep meditation, and you didn't even think about going because you were not there, you weren't in the room, your mind was elsewhere. So it's really powerful stuff. Yeah, so thank you, and I appreciate the hearts. All right, so here's what the first thing I learned, and also what I did was I found other places where this is listed, so it's not proprietary information. A lot of the stuff He does a lot of scientific studies as well. He's working a lot with Harvard and UC San Diego to take some of the data from the meditation subjects that go to these retreats, and then they process the data and find out different things. They take blood, they take all different samples, which I'll talk about another day, because that was interesting too. They're analyzing how what chemicals come out in the breath and how that changes over time, the blood, the all kinds of different biometrics. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. We'll talk about that though another day. So thanks for the hearts. I appreciate that. So the first thing is that I just want to share with you is, and this was also from, there was a study on this done March 20 in 2024, published in Molecular Psychiatry, that backs this up as well. And the researchers were Del Val, De La Guardia Bolivar, and Cloninger. I don't know. So I found this backup information, but here's what he said. When we feel an elevated emotion, our genes are signaled ahead of the environment, and we can modify our genes through our emotions. That is crazy. Like, didn't you always think our genes are our genes? And there was always that talk, nature versus nurture, right? Whatever's in our genes, whatever we inherited from our family, that's it. That's not true. That's not true anymore. They're finding that how we perceive the environment, how we feel about what we perceive, can change our genes. What? That's wild. And our emotions, which this is Dr. Joe again, are created through our thoughts and our experiences. Okay, so that's pretty wild, right? What do you think? Does that sound? It's kind of blowing away what we thought when we were in high school, right? Because when we were in high school, or this was years ago, a long time ago, but that our genes are static, and they are what they are, and they can never change. But there's a new science called epigenetics, which is above genetics, which means that we can modify our genes. So that empowers us. We're not victims anymore. We're not like, oh gosh, my mom had this and my dad had this, so therefore I'm going to have it. Not necessarily, which is so empowering and so cool, right? So then this next thing is different types of, what are the different types of distractions when you're meditating? Does anybody here ever do that? Or even if you want to sit and do like a task where you have to concentrate, what are some things that distract you? And like, what do you find, sometimes if you have a project to do, right? Or something for work or for school, and you sit down to do it, what are some of the distractions that might come up and cause you to veer off course? So there's two main categories, which I'll share with you in a second. But if anyone wants to put that in the chat, I would love to know. I'm gonna have a sip of water here. I'm a little rusty. It's been a week since I've been online with you guys. What's everybody been up to? Did everybody have a good week? Oh, thank you so much, Antonio. I appreciate that. So I'll just give you the basics on this. Types of distractions, there's two types. Well, the first one, which is kind of obvious, is external. What's in the world around you? What's happening? Are you in a quiet space? And this is for anything. It could be meditating, it could be doing homework, it could be doing work, whatever you're trying to focus on, right? So the room temperature, you sit down to meditate, oh my gosh, it's cold in here, it's hot in here, it's windy outside, or I'm on a cliff, I might fall, I don't know, whatever your external situation is. Yeah. Is your seat comfortable? Are you sitting on a blanket or a pillow, or are you sitting right on the rock? And is that going to be a problem later? Sounds, what kind of sounds are around you? Is the cat meowing, or the dog barking, or I had a Tai Chi teacher once, and he said they would meditate, before or after their sessions sometimes, but his studio is right next to a firehouse. And a lot of times they'd have like a 3-alarm fire, and that was a practice. They learned to meditate even if the alarms were going off and there were 10 fire trucks, rolling out next door. They would find a way to go within and tune it out and just meditate. So that was like he used it as a practice. He's like, if you can meditate here, you can do anything. So that's I thought about that's coming up in a minute. The fans, the people, the pets, or your headphones falling out of your ear for some reason, right? Um, so anything external it can be a distraction. Yeah. And then the second type of thing is, if we just did external, what do you think that is? Internal, okay? Um, so how do I feel? Am I thirsty? Am I tired? Do I feel like being here? Who am I? Am I a person that even meditates? Like, this isn't for me. I'm the only person. I'm a person here who just can't do it. Like, it's not in my body chemistry, and that's not true, by the way. I was just making an example. Daydreams. You're thinking about other things. You're making your grocery list. You're thinking about the past. You're thinking about a fight you had with somebody yesterday, and you should have said this. Like, all this stuff pops in your head. Well, it pops in my head. False beliefs. I just this isn't really good. It's not going to do anything. What's the point? Questions, thinking about other people, or uncomfortable things come up. Maybe you sit down and your mind quiets, and something you don't like about yourself maybe comes through your mind, and you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Let me stop this. Or weird thoughts. Like, just your mind is amazing. And also time you could feel like, oh, I've got to go, I don't have time for this, things like that. Yeah. Hey, good evening, Art. Doctors have diagnosed ADHD as an epidemic rate. I think people could use more practice focus. Yes, that's so true. It's funny you mentioned that. So today was the final day, and by the way, thanks for all the hearts, I appreciate that. And I sat next to a young person, and I think she was like 20. No, what was she? Was she 18? She was 18 or 20. And she said, yeah, I used to struggle with ADHD. And now, she was incredible. She was living on her own somewhere in Colorado. And she got into this. She somehow, got into the kids. They had like a youth group that came here, and she got into the meditation like a couple days before, and she said, I was able to calm my mind, and I really am. That's not an issue anymore. She says, and I also have dyslexia, and I've learned how to forgive myself and understand that I read a different way, and it's okay. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. So exactly what you said, Art. It's I don't know. I don't know what the answer is for a lot of people, but I think slowing down and also maybe exercising too. Like, when we were kids a long time ago, people used to run around outside, and then you would be tired enough to be able to sit down and focus. So I think it's maybe a combination of many things. The way our society has evolved, it's great in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, we're missing things that we need as humans, right? So I don't know if anybody else agrees with that. That's why if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I can't sit and focus because I'm all, wound up. So those are two main types of distractions, and what Dr. Joe did, and I love this. I'm not going to share it specifically because it may be proprietary, but he drew this beautiful tree of life, and then each layer was one of these different distractions. And it was true, like the way he laid it out, I was like, oh yeah, that usually comes up first, and then this one, and then this layer of stuff, and then this layer. And if you can get to removing all those distractions. Oh, and another one was negative beliefs, and false beliefs. So that was another issue. So if you can get through all those and refocus your mind and say, nope, I'm going to sit here and do this now. And he says, and this is such an interesting way of thinking about our analytical mind, which is analyzing all this, which is bringing all this up. If we can train the animal, he calls it, train the animal, say, nope, sit down. You're going to sit here for another 20 minutes and do this, or whatever time you decide. You eventually, it silences all of these distractions. Not all, but oftentimes they'll quiet, and it just says, oh, okay. And then you're just releases all your thoughts and you're able to get it done, right? So I'm curious if anybody would want to try that while they're doing a task, homework, schoolwork, work, whatever. Yeah. Yes, the diagnosis reached a learned helplessness. Yeah, that is the victim mentality. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. Hey Kevin, welcome. Yeah. Yeah, so that's true. Sometimes if we label ourselves, if we say, "Oh, I've got this," it's almost like a get out of jail free pass. Like, "Oh, I have this, therefore I can't do that." And a lot of times, the diagnosis, like you are not your diagnosis, right? And you're a person, and are you going to let that define you? Are you going to let that? Is that who you are? Is that what that is that your characteristic? Or are you going to rise above it or maybe use it? And that's a pretty neat concept. Like I'm working with somebody now, and he had a whole list of things. He had maybe 7 things that were, he had like a huge birth trauma. Like they had to build special, this was like, he's 93. So this was years ago. They had to build special forceps and pull him out of his mother because his mother couldn't deliver him regularly. So he had all kinds of issues, okay, physical and some were with his brain and everything. And every single thing that happened from that birth trauma, he turned it into a strength. It was incredible. Like his legs were all messed up and they weren't even, and he's got issues, and he ran marathons. Like so I think and he didn't even know he had birth trauma until he was like adult. So I think his parents did him a huge favor by not telling him, because then he didn't limit himself. He just said, "Oh, this is how I am. I'm a little uneven, but who cares?" And he did what he had to do, and it was great. How's it going over there? It's loud. I hope it's not too loud for you guys. So anyway, anyway. Okay, that was two things, different types of distractions. Number 3, I'll do 5 because if you're not into this could be a little boring. But anyway, thanks for the hearts. I do appreciate that. If you're not changing, you are choosing. Okay, and that was said by Oralexia. She said it on some podcast too. So that's an interesting thing. Like if there's something in your life you're not happy with, are you going to sit and complain, criticize, or condemn about it? Or are you going to change? You're going to change that, or are you going to change you and just be like, okay, I'm going to deal with it, or I'm going to change that, or I'll remove myself from this. Like there's a lot of things we can do. Sometimes, obviously it's a family member or somebody you're married to or whatever. You may choose to live with that. But then, you may have options. So you have to decide, but living and being the victim about it is not a way to be. That's a choice. If you're choosing to be a victim, that's totally a choice. Change takes courage. Oh my gosh, Kevin, that was the whole theme this week. It's so true because it's unknown. When you change, you don't know what's going to happen. You're like, all right, I'm going to change this, but then what are the other dominoes all around you that may change? And it's the unknown, and that's terrifying sometimes. And sometimes you have to stand in your truth, right? Yeah. Very few people are self-aware and motivated to change. That's true. The first step is awareness. Yeah. And then the motivation to change, it's comfortable. It's comfortable doing the same thing over and over. It's comfortable not changing because what a lot of people are just in the program. They get up, they, eat breakfast, whatever, do what they're going to do in the morning, go to work, come home, watch TV, rinse and repeat tomorrow. Go to bed, rinse and repeat for the rest of their lives. And I know you made some changes. I know my friend Art's made some changes. I've changed my entire life. I've turned my life upside down because I want to make a difference in the world and hopefully do what I love and just not waste 1 second of my life. And it was hard, and I lost a lot of friends, and I lost some family, and I'm working on getting the people who want to be in my life are back, and we're rebuilding our relationship. But it's even better now because it's real. It's who I really am. It's not the phony person I was before, who I didn't even know I wasn't being real, because I thought that was it. I thought that's who I was. And now that I know myself and that I've done all this work, um, of and I'm still working. It's a never ending process, right? Uh, I'm so grateful because the people that are here want to be here. They know who I am, and they accept me for who I am, or we respect each other enough to say, okay, whatever. But it's all real. It's none of it's phony, which is the only way I want to be, right? Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. You have too. I appreciate that. Yeah, the price is high. Um, totally, totally. And then, sometimes you question, you're like, was that worth it? And for me, it was always worth it, and you have to answer that for yourself, right? Positive change in life change. Okay, hold on. Positive life change is life changing and rewarding. That's so true, Kevin. Yeah, I missed your wisdom. It's been a while. Um, yeah, yeah. And you surround yourself with people who are also on that path, which is also helpful, because if you and I had a few people I had to not have in my life anymore because they just they didn't understand, and they kept questioning, like, well, why aren't you coming out and drinking with us again? And I'm like, because that's not important to me. And I love you. If you want to come go for a walk or do something else, I'm happy to hang out. um but it just sometimes people have different goals and different things, and you have to let them go, or they choose to leave, or whatever happens, right? Yeah. Once you're aware, you can't go back. That's so true, Art. And I wouldn't want to. Um, yeah, it's kind of like, once your eyes are open, you can't go back to not seeing, right? You're like, oh, I'm awake now. And I'm not talking woke. I'm talking about like awareness, and like Kevin said, awareness, being aware of what life is really about, not the money. Not, and in a nutshell, it's not the external stuff. Yes, of course, I would like nice things, and I would like, a good, whatever, a good life and all that. But that's not the thing. The thing is loving yourself and being kind to yourself and being kind to others, and stuff lines up eventually. And it may not come in a way you think, and it may not be monetary. It might be an abundant. And oh my God, one of the themes one night was about abundance, which we'll talk about. Yeah, thank you. Yes, you totally have to reevaluate all your relationships, because also, who is going to accept you for who you truly are, now that you've shown it? Because we all have our real self is in us. And a lot of times we don't even know we're not being a real self. So once we analyze ourselves and say, okay, I gotta get deep, and we do the dark night of the soul, and it was like that rebuilding scene in Rocky, where he goes in a cabin and he's punching a side of beef, and you're like all alone, and you're just working on yourself, and you're working hard. It's almost like I had like a tiny apartment, and it was I didn't even have like I took a couple pieces of furniture, and it wasn't it wasn't for anybody but myself. It was me and the cat. That's why the channel is called Chatting with My Cat. And I just got it back to basics, and I had to get to know myself, and then start to love myself, which also took time. And then I came out of it, and I looked around, and I'm like, okay, hi, this is me. And they're like, what? And some people were like, ew. They're like, okay, I'll see. I'm not going to be with you anymore because you don't like who I really am. And then other people who really love you and accept you, then and it's actually beautiful, because now I know all the people in my life are real, and they're good, and we're on the same wavelength. Yeah. And a plant, yes, plants are great. Plants are good to talk to. They're good to. Ooh, there was a study done. So they had senior citizens. Half the people in a nursing home got plants in their room, but they were taken care of by a company, so they didn't have to water them or do anything. They just had a fresh plant. The other half had to care for the plant. Like they had to get the water, even if they were in a wheelchair, they had to like make sure, look after it, and make sure somebody else helped them water it or whatever. And the ones who had to care for the plant did like, they lived, I think, years longer than the ones that had the plant taken care of for them. Isn't that interesting? Hello there from Cyrillic. Nice to see you. I'm not sure what you said. Okay. So yeah, if you're not changing, you're choosing. And we talked about that. So, and we talked about being uncomfortable and the unknown, and and this is the last part of this. Our analytical mind hates the unknown. Our analytical mind wants the predictable, wants the known, and it will make all sorts of sort of tricks to keep us in the predictable, known, and comfortable. All right, the fourth thing: gratitude is a catalyst for happiness. Amy Collette said that, but also Dr. Joe said gratitude is a catalyst, which I thought's so cool, because if we can be grateful for everything, and I mean everything, even the things that we would prefer didn't happen, okay? Um, yeah, your change threatened others, sure. Yeah, it's true. And even sometimes, like, not everybody likes my personality, and that's okay. I'm a strong cup of tea or coffee or whatever, but oh, a strong cup of tea. Ah. But not everybody can deal with it, and it's okay. And I try to dial back if I see somebody's like not comfortable or whatever, just so that, if it's a group setting or something. But if it's just with friends, I'm who I am, and that's it. Yeah. Gratitude is a big thing with you. Excellent, Kevin. Yeah, it's like such a powerful um tool that all of us have, and it gets us in the right mindset. It's like a Swiss Army knife of emotions. It does everything, and it helps us get in touch with the divine, which it's it's amazing. Anyway, yeah, so if we can be genuinely grateful for things, people, situations, events, places, and times in our lives, even if they're not the ones we prefer, that shifts us, okay, from a victim perspective to a student mindset where we're learning, like, okay, I'm going to try to be grateful for this thing. All right, somebody just cut me off in traffic. I'm not always grateful, okay? Sometimes I'm like human, whatever. But if I can be grateful for that, what did that teach me? Okay, maybe that taught me patience. Maybe that taught me to leave a little bit earlier. So I'm not rushing and trying to, be the first one in line in that uh, lane, So everything is there to teach us. And if we can honestly embrace that, even our enemies, even the people that hurt us, if we can find out a way to be grateful for them, maybe not approve of what they did and not give them a total pass, but to forgive them and to say, you know what, if they hadn't done this, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I just had that conversation with somebody, because there was a person who did some serious wrong to me, and I'm still repairing a lot of my relationships because I listened to them. I chose it, but I'm grateful for that person, genuinely, because if they hadn't done all that, I wouldn't have done this much work on myself, because I want to be strong and never let that happen again. So, yeah, we are all going to stand and be judged in the end. Yes. And in the end, and you better have your ducks in a row. So true. Yeah. And you know what? I don't even think, I mean, you know what? That's fine. But also, you can have the same actions, but with a different motivation of, I'm going to behave that same way, Kevin, but also I'm coming, and this is sort of breaking it down to just like real simple. But are you going to act out of fear, or are you going to act out of love? And you're already doing that, because I know you're doing good things, and you're involved in good groups and all that. But are you like, what are you doing? Are you being selfish? Are you acting out of fear? And that's a lack mindset, and we talked a lot about that. But the fear is just being afraid that you're not going to have enough, that you're not enough, that you're not worthy, and living out of that fear, it's such a hard way to be, and it makes things 10 times harder and 10 times sadder, and it's not cool. Whereas if you're doing, you could do the same things, and rather than being afraid of judgment or afraid of what's God going to think, just doing it because you love and you want to be kind, and you're doing the same stuff, but it's coming from your heart. It's more fun, that's all. So um yeah, so having the student mindset and being grateful for everything. All right, and the fifth thing, okay, and this is what we talked about a lot. I may lose some of you now. It was the quantum field. We talked a lot about quantum physics this week. I was like, thank you, Dr. Joe. It's my jam. But basically, and I'll put a link. I'll find the link and put it in the description maybe of this live, okay? We saw this physicist from Cambridge, and he talked about the quantum field, and it was only like a 5-minute portion of his whole speech, but this clip got 6.7 million views, and it was published originally 8 years ago. And he basically said the quantum field is everything. It is all around us. We are in it. We're all in it. Okay, people, things, places, the entire world is in it. And pretty much, if you believe in multiverses, everything is in the quantum field, and it's full of this random stuff. I don't know what it's basically full of potential. And he showed a AI generated version of what it was. And it was just very interesting, because the things we learned this week is that our thoughts are our heart is magnetic, and our mind is electric, and together we have an electromagnetic torus. Actually, it's a field of energy around each of us. We all have it. I mean, that's a fact. That's not even debatable. But that our thoughts go into the field, and they change the field, which then changes matter. It's like, what? I just said it in like a minute, and it took us, I think he talked about that for like an hour to sort of break it down. So that was not a great explanation, but I think if you wanted to look at the video, I'll definitely put a link in that, because it's neat to see, and it's pretty wild that we are surrounded by this quantum field, and that our thoughts, because they're electric, and there's, I don't know, it interacts with the field, it changes the field. So it's wild stuff. And I don't know if you ever saw the double slit experiment, but that tells me that the particles, when we are looking at the particles, they behave one way, and when we're not looking at the particles, they do what they want. They actually have free will, which, well, that's debatable, but they do whatever they want. They don't follow what we think should happen with physics. But when we're looking at them, they change their behavior. So that's pretty wild stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you believe it, it's obvious. Yeah. Yes, we are energy, Kevin. Oh my, you got ahead of me, man. I wasn't even going to talk about that tonight. But yeah, we are. We are energy in bodies, like our souls. We're souls, and we're just in these bodies, That's so cool. I'm glad you said that. All right. What do you guys think? What else is going on with everybody tonight? Hi, Sadim. Welcome. Hi. Pamela, welcome. Good to see you. So, yeah, I think it was such a great week. As I said, we did a lot of meditating. I think we meditated something like 33 hours. It was a lot. And the first day we came in, and we were all like, we didn't want to sit there. And then by the end of the week, he would say, certain words. And he has a background in hypnotism, which actually was very cool, because I'm sure he put a lot of those aspects to practice. And by the way, hypnotism is not, dangerous or evil or anything like that. It's just being, what was it? Relaxed in the heart and awake in the mind, I think, or vice versa. It's one of those things. Awake in the heart and relaxed in the mind. I don't know. It's one of the awake one place and relax the other place. And it's the heart and the mind. But yeah, pretty neat. I know, I know. Oh, Pumpkin will be back in action Tuesday morning. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Art. I miss Pumpkin too. And I'm not taking it the wrong way because she's great. She's the star. I'm just her sidekick. Yeah, it's great to see you, Pamela. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Kevin. Well, it took all week. I mean, it wasn't just, one day. And it was different meditations, which was so cool. Some days we did walking meditations on the beach. I mean, that was amazing. And then so we did one last night. Oh, so yesterday was the 4 a.m. thing for 5 hours, okay? We literally did 4 a.m. to it was 9:05 when he said, "Okay, everybody, open your eyes. You can take out," like a lot of us were like blindfoldy things. It's like, "Okay, open your eyes." He goes, "It's 9:05. You can go have a break now and have breakfast, and I'll see you in an hour and a half." And we're like, that was like nobody knew it was 5 hours. We were sitting there going, we thought it was maybe 2.5. He said, "No, it's 9:05." But anyway, so we did we did a coherence healing that day. And then we did another short meditation. And then we did an evening one that was called Walk Like the Mystic. And we were on the beach and we started at sunset. And then we walked and we would sit down and we would close our eyes and then think different things and then walk again. And then we would lay down and close our eyes. And when we opened our eyes, all the stars were in the sky. And it was mystical and magical. And I think the point that he had for the whole week was to get us in touch with, actually, the name of the theme this week was divine timing. And we were trying to connect with God and our souls connect with God. It was more spiritual than I thought it would be. Spirituality and quantum physics. What's better than that? Nothing. Anyway, I'm going to head out. I hope you guys have a great night. And I'll see you tomorrow at 8. And by the way, I want to thank our moderator, Imran Hossein, for moderating. I don't even know if you had to zap anybody tonight. I think everybody was behaving. So thank you, Imran. Thanks for being here. And I missed you all week. I hope you had a good week off. But anyway, thanks, everybody. Let's see. Yeah, my notes are all writing art. I don't doodle. I mean, do I doodle? Not really. No, because you know why? If I had that notebook out, I was writing because he was talking so fast. I didn't want to miss anything. So I was like, yeah, one night he did his whole like abundance course it's a beautiful abundance course. He went through all the concepts in, a few hours, and we were like, he's like, "Okay, there's that slide. Here's what it is." But he went through the concepts, which was so neat. And we'll talk about abundance. I'm not going to obviously give you the course, but there's some interesting concepts that you can start thinking about. And he has his course for sale if you want to buy it. I'm not going to, of course, do anything that's illegal or giving too much information. But there are some interesting ideas that we can start seeing our abundance. And it's not, and like money is the lowest form. There's a lot of other forms. So we can talk about that. All right, everybody, I'm going to head out. Hi, Anish. Welcome. I'm going to head out. I hope you have a great night. I'll see you at 8 o'clock tomorrow night and 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. All right. So from myself to yourself, thank you for joining me on this journey. And remember, you are infinite, you are powerful, and you are love. Okay. Bye, everybody. Take care.